Hello viewers, Jesse here with APG Nation to review a game called Son of Nor, and just as a quick disclaimer, the review code for this game was given to us by the developers, and with that said, on to the review.
According to human beliefs, humans and
So let's begin this review with story, and the game begins with a very nice opening cinematic which sets up the lore of the game, and it really is an interesting tale. You are a son of Nor and you're brought into a world where the humans are on the run from their mortal enemy known as the Sarahul, which is sort of like a lizard-like race that wield the power of magic, but don't worry, because as a son of Nor, you too have multiple powers and it's now up to you to defend your people. When playing the game, it felt like the opening cinematic painted quite the nice canvas that the game could expand upon, but sadly it does not, and throughout the game things just sort of happen and you're just there to stop them, and over the course of playing this game you will end up meeting multiple different characters that are not only boring, but are also poorly explained and also suffer from lackluster voice acting as well.
the human resistance.
Onto gameplay, which should be the most interesting part of the game, and I can firmly say that it's okay. The game's big mechanics are that of being able to use your telekinetic and terraforming abilities, which of course allow you to pick up different objects and alter the environment, but unfortunately you are only permitted to use the magic of terraforming with sand. But other than terraforming, you do gain the abilities of using fire and wind attacks, and that's really it. When actually fighting enemies, for me it just felt awkward because I didn't really feel like I'm fighting humanity's deadliest enemy. They just felt like dumb ragdolls that blindly tried to run towards me as I looked for something to fling at them so they die and crumble to dust. Another thing that I found quite annoying is that the complete lack of melee weapons, and I can understand that the devs really want us to feel like these powerful magic users, but come on, when enemies drop weapons, I would at least like to use them, because there are times when you are playing and you won't be able to use your elemental attacks, and those moments can get really annoying. Overall, combat has all the ideas in the right places, but when it comes to the execution of it, it's kinda boring and not really fun. However, it's not all about combat, as the game does have puzzles in it, and yet again, I was not really impressed because the majority of the puzzles just felt like they are there to allow me to take a break from the boring combat, and with the majority of the puzzles they can be easily solved and understood at first glance. You know, I'm just not really a guy who enjoys the majority of puzzles in a game unless it's something smart or fun, like what can be found in Resident Evil, Silent Hill, or even the Uncharted games, because at least then I felt like I was being rewarded, but in Son of Nor, I just couldn't enjoy them.
Going to change that. Please continue with your duties. May Nor guide.
Okay, onto graphics, and this is just another aspect of the game when pretty much everything just felt weak. Mostly all of the environments of the game look similar to each other, and really the only two locations you will see in the game are that of the desert and then the dungeon areas, and even those end up looking samey as every corridor and room looks the same, and even when you are in any other given location, textures can look quite ugly, bland and uninteresting. And another thing to mention is that I'm pretty sure it's not in my head, but there appears to be no connection between what the characters say and how their mouths move, basically no lip syncing. And I know this seems like I'm nitpicking, but really when I'm looking at characters speak, it can just become a jarring experience.
We need to do something about it or I'll die!
Lastly is multiplayer, and sadly I can't even tell you about it considering no one is playing it, so for all I know, that is where the real fun of this game could have been, but as of now I can't tell you much because it's either a server issue on their side or no one is actually playing the game. Overall, Son of Nor is a game that I think you should avoid, and it's a shame really because I can see the big idea this game has and how cool it would have been to use all these powers and get sucked into this story, but it just didn't work for me, and it's probably because of the boring story, uninteresting combat, completely outdated graphics, and just overall not being fun. I do wish luck to the developers and their next game, and I hope I can enjoy it more than I did this, but for all your gaming news, reviews and more, keep your eyes on apgnation.com.
No, why is this happening?